NUREMBERG Review, guys. Right to action. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Economic Ryan 680.
I'm Angela, the hell Ange.
This is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day, but let's get right to it, guys. Angela, what are we talking about today? What's today's movie review?
We are reviewing Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
So, World War II psychiatrist evaluates Nazi leaders before the Nuremberg trials, growing increasingly obsessed with understanding evil as he forms a disturbing bond with Hermann Göring. So, Ryan, kick us off. I know one of the first things we saw and noticed right away with this was just a stellar cast. Like a lot of faces we recognize and we've come to love. What were your thoughts going into this movie? Did this meet your expectations?
Yeah, you know, this movie did meet my expectations, right? It did. And I'm going to say this right now. You already said the character's name and his story. You know, history. When it comes to history movies and everything, I'm very, very interested. It's fascinating to me because we get to see, you know, actors enact the situations that occurred during whatever past period timepiece. I'm a sucker for movies like this. I'm a sucker for history films. I really am. I love history movies, and they've always been intriguing, and they've always been so revealing. Something you didn't know, something you could research about even. So, you know, seeing Russell Crowe in here playing Göring, man, that was so damn good. He was fantastic. I loved him as Göring. I know it's weird to say, but I really enjoyed his accent. I really enjoyed his performance in here playing on this character. And something I did not know because I didn't know too much about this trial, which we got a little bit of because this is based off the book, which is the Nazi and the Psychiatrist by Jack Ehal. So knowing that this is based on that book adaptation and everything, I really, really enjoyed this a lot. Another key component here, of course, was Rami Malek in here as Douglas Kelly. He was really good in here. I really enjoyed Rami. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Fantastic. Won an Oscar for that film. And, you know, we saw him earlier in the year, the Amateur movie, which I wasn't, you know, it was enjoyable. I just didn't love it. And I was just like, man,
I really liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. It was good. I mean, it was a solid movie, but still Rami Malek, I really, really want him to, you know, reach that caliber as he did with Bohemian Rhapsody, and he's done in a few roles in here and there. But yeah, I really enjoyed him in here. Michael Shannon, of course, was the cherry on top, which I really, really did love watching him. Every time I see him now, though, I mean, I know everyone's gonna be like, Ryan, he's played so many different roles. I know, I still see him as General Zod. I still do it in Man of Steel. But Russell Crowe's performance is really good. The film tackles a vital historical moment, the trial of the century, literally the trial of the century of all this, you know, aftermath of World War II. Everyone wanted them hung. Everyone wanted the Nazi war criminals to be hung for terrorism against the whole world, if you will, world terrorism and everything. And I feel like the weight of it, the scale of it, is not the measure that I wanted. I want the movie to be more impactful, and I feel like it should have been, but it wasn't for me. But at the same time, I feel like that the trial itself literally was so impactful, and I feel like we could have got a little bit more out of it, a little bit more thrill out of it, action dialogue, if you will. And I didn't see that too much in this movie, but I still enjoyed this film. It's still a great movie to watch, especially if you're a major history fan of it. I really enjoyed this movie. But anyways, enough about me. Angela, what did you think of this film?
I wasn't too sure going into this. I mean, I love World War II movies. I love seeing more light that's shed on, you know, different stories that come from that time period. It's very interesting to me. And I am definitely a believer in we should all know and remember history so that way we learn from it and it doesn't repeat itself, especially the really horrible parts of history. But I really liked this take that we saw it almost from like the perspective of the psychiatrist evaluating Hermann Göring. I know he had other Nazi prisoner intakes, like he had them as patients, but the main focus was Russell Crowe's Göring character. And it's really interesting to see Rami Malek's character kind of become more unraveled, if you will. Like you say, more obsessed as he went and was evaluating him. I really liked, I didn't find it boring per se. I do think though there's not so much trial per se as more as like the relationship, the bond between the psychiatrist and the patient, which is you know, Russell Crowe's character. So if you're going in to learn about the trials, I would say it's going to disappoint a little bit. But I do think the movie itself is very, very nicely well done. There were certain parts that kind of lulled a little bit. But it was a really interesting thing to see. And I really appreciate the cast. I really liked them. Now, was it my favorite World War II movie? No. But I think it was a really, really, really cool adaptation, especially now that knowing that it's from a book. It's based on a book. And I really hope people give it a chance. It doesn't have a lot of action. We're gonna say this. It's not an not an action movie. It is all dialogue, like say action dialogue. Yeah. But it's still very compelling, very captivating in certain moments. Yeah,
no, definitely. And for being a 2.5-hour movie, I would say somewhat very formal, if you will. I feel like that it's gonna feel heavy on some people because if it's not their style of movie making and style of movie watching, I feel like it's really going to be slow. Maybe for the casual moviegoer, it might be not as entertaining. But I would say for the more moviegoer person, I feel like you're going to enjoy this film. If it's going to be very, very entertaining. There's definitely moments in this movie where, you know, you get kind of lost in Russell Crowe's mind, if you will, in a way to where, like, you're trying to understand this character, Göring's character, and he's a second in command of Hitler, and how he tried to play the justice system. He thought he was smarter than the justice system, and it outplayed him. And you really get it. You really get into that philosophy of they believe Hitler no matter what. And that's the crazy part. That's the insane.
Yeah,
the same part.
And I think it's also really interesting to know that these trials were the precedent of establishing like international law. That is kind of like
international
very important
judgment.
To today.
International judgment.
That's really cool because like at the time they opened up with like, there's no like, what do you mean you're gonna charge him? Like, how are you gonna charge him? Like, in what country? And that was a whole issue. So I think that was really interesting to see that. Of course, again, I'm not a super huge history buff. I know that it's definitely known, but I just thought it was really interesting that they touch on that it's not just the psychological evaluation of this character, but it's what it set, like this whole trial, what the whole reason for that was. And I really appreciate, again, just learning more about what's the important milestones of history. And I think this is a really important story to tell. I really liked it. Again, it's not a big action thing, but it is very important to know. So.
It really summarizes out to be Nuremberg. It's a solid movie, man. It really is. Serious historical drama, and I feel like it doesn't reach the caliber that I wanted it to reach.
Sure,
I really did. I guess I was looking for Oppenheimer reach. I guess I don't know. I was reaching for the skies here with big unveil, and for me it was there, but it wasn't there. You know, like it was there, it wasn't.
It was
there.
Almost there. It was
almost there, almost there. But it has nothing to do. It has mainly to do with the storytelling of it. And we go back to where, you know, just how and it's crazy to me even more so thinking about it even more was the fact that, you know, the whole trial of the way it was like in phases. And also we got to see the opposite side of it where in America, they wanted to execute him already, not give him a fair trial. But and Michael Shannon's character as the lawyer, as the justice, was just like, you know, Supreme Court justice was just like, you know, how are we any better than you know, it's crazy how he was not against America, but in a way against public opinion. And it just,
because I feel like he was able to look past the here and now. Like, these officers that were partaking in this was just abhorrent, just unfathomable. You can't imagine they did this. And he was able to see past it and like pose questions of like you say, are we any better if we just do this with, you know, we are the judge, jury, executioner, there's no fair trial. And he could probably see the sense of like, what precedent does that sound like, does that set for future, you know, things that happen in the future? At what point would this be okay? Like, is it acceptable to do that again? So it's really interesting to see that he probably anticipated that.
And I'm probably butchering this, but one of the wordings was really cool, and that we found out later in the film was after listening to the therapy side of it, right, the psychiatrist side of it, and the fact is that, you know, they don't go against the Führer. They don't go against him at all. And I was, no matter what.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Crazy. Anyways, let's go to rating. 1 out of 10. 10 be the highest, Angela. What are you going to give this rating? I'm going to give this a solid 8.5. I'm going to do 8.5.
I'll do a solid 7.5.
Okay.
Because again, it wasn't my favorite World War II film or favorite film in general. But I do see, I know we had talked beforehand that there's a lot of buzz around this, that this might potentially be nominated for the upcoming Academy.
So I'm gonna say this: I could see Russell Crowe being nominated for Best Actor, along with Remy as well. I could see both of them being nominated. Michael Shannon, I don't know, maybe supporting, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he has to be a supporting character, but I would see mainly more Russell Crowe and Remy. Yeah, I'll see them, both of them get nominated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say solid 7.5 because their performances were spectacular.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were certain points where it did drag.
Yeah.
But most of the film was very captivating, very compelling.
Yep. Same. I really enjoyed it.
It wasn't my, like you say, favorite, but I do think it's a really solid film. If you're ever unsure, don't let the runtime scare you.
Yeah, it's a little bit too out. Make sure you go to the restroom before, though.
Definitely give it a chance, but I would say solid 7.5 and then 8.
Get that popcorn, get the drinks, get your what do they mix in popcorn now? Raisinets.
Oh, the chocolate raisinets.
Chocolate raisinets. Yeah. We don't do that, but yeah, get your chocolate raisinets.
Those are good. I've done that before.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. Excuse me.
Well, to be fair, though, I am also a person who would dip French fries in like a slushy or a frosty.
That's disgusting. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Questions for you guys. What do y'all think of Nuremberg? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan 680.
I'm Angela. That's Kelly Ange.
This is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. See you at the movies. Latest.